Hello guys, welcome to CS Tech Solution. Today's is learning SQL. Today's is learn as a database lock and the concurrency. What is the concurrency? As the concurrencies means as multiple users can access the same database at a same time, and the database is used the log to as prevent the data and as a conflict and as a maintain the data's accuracy. And the real life example as a bank account, the user A is withdraw the 1000 rupees and the user B is deposit the 500 at sometimes, and the database is used the log to as ensure the both as operations are as complete as correctly as without losing the data. And the types of logs as first is share logs, and second is exclusive logs. Let's explain in detail. First type as share log. Share log is allow the multiple user to read and the same data at the same time. As read is allow, but update and the delete is not allowed until the log is released. And the example as a select star from a table name is the employee, and where the employee id is equal the 101 and the semicolon. And while this the queries is the reading the data, and others users can also as read it, but as they cannot modify it. And real life example, many students can read a same library's book, but as no one can say as write on it. And the second is exclusive logs. As exclusive logs is allow only as one user to modify the data, and insert update delete is allowed, and the other users cannot read or the modified as depending on as a isolations level, and until the transactions is complete. And the example as update the employee and set the salary is equal the 500 sorry as a 5000 sorry as a 50,500, sorry as 55,000, and where the employee id is equal the 101 and the semicolon. And while the update is as a runnings, and the others users must as wait. And the real life example as one person is editing the document, and so the others must as wait until as editing is finished. Other topics is a deadlock. What is a deadlock? A deadlock is occurs then two and the more transactions is wait for each others forever, and as now so of them can as a continuous. And the example as a transaction 1 is beginning the transactions and the semicolon, and as a update the account and set as a balance colons equal as a balance minus as the 1000s, and where the account number equal the 101 and the semicolon, and log the account is 101. And now the transaction 1 is need as account 102, and so the waiting as the transactions 1 is waiting for the account 102, and the result is a deadlock. And the database is automatically detect the deadlocks and as a rollback of one transaction. And other is a isolation level. What is a isolation levels? Isolation levels is control how one transaction is affected by the another transaction, and it help maintain the data's consistency as then the many user to access the database simulatrix. And the types of isolations levels. First is read is in committed as can the read the data that has not been as committed, and as a fast but may as produce the dirty reads. And the example as a set transactions and the isolation levels and read as a uncommitted and the semicolon. And the second is read and committed as read only as a committed data as prevent the dirty reads and as default levels is many databases. And the example set transaction and the isolation levels and the read as a committed and the semicolon. And third is repeatables read as ensure the same rows is written the same data throughout the transactions and the prevent dirty read and as non-repeatable reads. And the examples to write the set transaction and the isolation levels and the repeatables read and the semicolon. And the fourth is a serializable as highest isolation levels and the transaction execute one after the others and safe but as slowest. And the example as said the transaction is isolation levels and serializable and the semicolon is the advantage as prevent the data's is conflict as maintain the data's consistency as support the multiple users safely as ensure the reliable transaction. And the disadvantage to many logs can as reduce the performance and the deadlocks may as occurs and the higher isolations levels can as slow down the database. Thank you guys to watch the videos. Please subscribe the channel, on the notification and bell icon.